I shouldn't have noticed the way her hand lingered when she passed me the glass, but I did. The brush of her fingers against mine was too deliberate to be an accident, too fleeting to be safe. She stood across from me, the soft light from the kitchen window cutting against her profile, cheekbones sharp, hair falling loose in a way that didn't look planned but still carried a kind of quiet elegance. She was older, yes, but not in the way people say it with pity. She carried herself with a grace that felt earned, like she had already lived through storms I couldn't name. I pretended to sip the water, but really, I was watching her. The way she leaned against the counter, arms folded like a shield, yet her eyes kept finding me, not for long, just a second too long each time. "You shouldn't look at me like that," she murmured, her voice low, almost swallowed by the hum of the refrigerator. I blinked, caught, but didn't step back. "Like what?" She tilted her head, lips pressed in a half smile, half warning. "Like you don't know better." I wanted to say I didn't. That every part of me knew exactly what I was doing, that it wasn't confusion pulling me toward her, it was certainty. But I stayed quiet, because I knew if I spoke, it would all spill out too fast. The silence between us stretched, heavy, like the air before rain. I could hear the faint ticking of the old clock on her wall, the uneven rhythm of her breath. She was the one who finally moved, reaching past me to set the glass down. Her sleeve brushed against my arm, a whisper of fabric that felt louder than anything else in the room. "Too close," she whispered, not looking at me. But she didn't step away. My hand moved before I thought, just enough that my fingers touched hers on the counter. Not holding, not even pressing, just resting there. Waiting. Her body stiffened, and for a second I thought she'd pull away. But she didn't. She stayed, every muscle in her hand tense, like the stillness before breaking. "You shouldn't touch me like that." Her voice cracked on the word shouldn't, softer than she meant it to be. I leaned closer, my breath catching in my throat. "Then why are you shaking?" That made her turn, really turn, her eyes locking on mine, sharp and unflinching now. I saw everything in them, the warning, the regret, the pull she was trying so hard to deny. For a heartbeat, either of us moved. My chest felt tight, her lips parted like she wanted to say something but couldn't. The faint scent of her perfume wrapped around me, warm and unsettling. And then, the front door clicked. The sound was sharp, ordinary, but it split the moment in two. Her eyes darted to the hallway, panic flashing quick before she smoothed it away. "Don't," she said suddenly, stepping back, voice steadier now, almost cold. "Not another word." But her hand was still trembling on the counter. And I couldn't stop staring at it. The sound of the door closing echoed down the hallway, and both of us froze. Whoever it was didn't come into the kitchen. A pair of keys dropped onto the little side table near the entryway, then silence. She exhaled slowly, almost in relief, and pulled her hand from the counter. The tremor in her fingers lingered in the air between us, even after she folded her arms tightly against her chest. "You need to go," she whispered, though her eyes stayed on me. I didn't move. "Is it your husband?" Her jaw tightened, then relaxed. The word left her mouth quickly, as though she didn't want to give it weight. 3 years now. I swallowed, uncertain whether to press. She didn't look like she wanted pity, but something in the way she glanced toward the empty hallway told me she was used to a silence that cut too deep. I shifted closer, trying to sound casual. "So you live alone? That doesn't mean what you think it does." Her lips curled into the faintest smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Don't read too much into it." I wanted to tell her I already had. That from the moment I saw her, I had been reading too much into every look, every word, every hesitation. But instead, I leaned back against the counter, forcing my voice steady. "You act like I don't know better," I said quietly. "Maybe I do." She looked at me for a long moment, as though weighing whether I could handle the truth of her. Finally she spoke. "I was married young. Too young. He was older, controlling, the kind of man who mistakes silence for loyalty." She broke off, her eyes flicking away. "By the end, I forgot what it felt like to be wanted without condition. Her confession left the room heavy, like something fragile had just been placed between us. I wanted to reach for her, but instead I asked, "Is that why you keep pulling back?" Her eyes darted to mine, sharp, unsettled. "I'm twice your age," she said, her voice almost breaking into a laugh, though it carried no humor. "People would say I should know better." I didn't answer right away. My chest felt tight, my throat dry. I could see the way her shoulders tensed when I didn't speak, like she expected me to agree, to give her an out. Instead, I stepped closer, slowly, until the space between us thinned to almost nothing. "You keep telling me what I shouldn't do," I murmured, my hand brushing lightly over her shoulder. "But you're the one who keeps standing here." Her breath caught, soft and sharp. I felt it, warm against my cheek, closer than it should have been. For a heartbeat, I thought she might lean into me, but instead she closed her eyes, steadying herself. "Don't make this harder," she whispered. But she didn't move away. I let my hand linger on her shoulder, my thumb grazing the curve where her blouse met her skin. She shivered barely, but it was enough to undo me. For the first time, she opened her eyes again and met mine without retreating. And in that silence, in the way her gaze held me, I knew she wasn't going anywhere. The house was too quiet again. Whoever had come in earlier hadn't stayed long, maybe just dropped something off and left. But the tension their presence stirred hadn't gone anywhere. She stood across from me, her arms still folded, though now her breathing gave her away. The rise and fall of her chest was uneven, betraying the calm she was trying to hold. I shifted closer, close enough that the edge of the counter pressed into my hip. "You don't want me here," I said softly. "But you haven't asked me to leave." Her eyes flicked to mine, sharp but wavering. "That's not the same thing." "Feels like it is." Her lips parted, but before she could answer, her phone lit up on the counter between us. The sharp vibration cut the air. She glanced at the screen, and for a fraction of a second, I caught the name, Lena. She silenced the call with a quick tap, turning the phone face down. "My friend," she muttered, almost defensively. The room felt tighter. A friend. Someone who might walk through the same door without warning, who might notice how close I was standing. The thought made her shift uneasily, but she didn't step away. "You don't tell her about me?" I asked before I could stop myself. Her eyes widened slightly, then narrowed. "There's nothing to tell." We both knew that wasn't true. The silence that followed was unbearable. My gaze dropped to her hand resting against the counter, fingers curling and uncurling. Without thinking, I reached out, brushing the back of her hand with my fingertips. She froze. "Don't," she whispered, but the word lacked conviction. Her hand stayed under mine, trembling. Slowly, I turned it over, letting my palm meet hers. Warm, soft, unsteady. Her breath hitched. "You're playing with fire," she murmured, her voice breaking on the last word. "Then why does it feel like you're holding on?" I whispered back. Her eyes darted to my mouth. Too quick, too raw to be an accident. My pulse thundered in my ears. I leaned in, just enough that I could feel the heat of her skin, her perfume surrounding me, the barest brush of her breath against my lips. She didn't move. Didn't stop me. The moment stretched, fragile, electric. My heart pounded so loud it felt like she could hear it. Then, a sharp knock rattled the front door. She flinched, tearing her hand from mine. Panic flashed across her face, but before she could move, I caught her wrist. Not to hold her back, just enough to keep her eyes on me. We stood frozen, her body tense, mine leaning closer than I should. The knock came again, louder this time. Her lips trembled, her eyes wide, and in that suspended breath between us, we were closer than ever, too close to deny, too close to step back. The pounding on the door stopped as suddenly as it began. Whoever it was must have given up, but the silence they left behind was unbearable. She stood against the counter, chest rising and falling too fast, eyes fixed anywhere but on me. I could still feel the echo of her wrist in my hand, the way she trembled when I let go. "You're shaking again," I said softly. Her head snapped toward me, eyes fierce. "Stop saying that. Then stop pretending." The words came out harsher than I meant, but I couldn't pull them back. Her lips parted, as if she wanted to argue, but nothing came. Instead, she pressed her palms flat to the counter, like she needed the cold surface to anchor her. "I can't," she broke off, her voice catching. "You don't know what you're asking of me. Then tell me." I stepped closer, until only a breath separated us. "Because I can't keep standing here like it means nothing." Her eyes flickered unsteady, then landed on me with something raw. Vulnerable. "I swore I'd never do this again," she whispered. "Not after him. Not after I lost myself trying to be what he wanted." I swallowed hard, the weight of her confession pressing down on me. "I'm not him." Her lips trembled, her gaze dropping to my chest. Slowly, like she couldn't stop herself, she reached out, her fingers brushing the hem of my shirt, tentative, fleeting. My skin burned where she touched. "I hate that I want this," she breathed. "That I want you." The sound of it undid me. I lifted my hand, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. Her eyes fluttered shut, her cheek leaning ever so slightly into my palm. Her skin was warm, soft, too close. "I shouldn't," she whispered again, but her body leaned into mine, betraying her. My hand slid to the back of her neck, not pulling, just resting there. Her breath itched, her lips parting, so close to mine that every word tasted like it belonged in the space between us. "You don't have to be afraid," I murmured, my mouth near her ear. Her body shivered. "And if someone finds out? Then let them." My voice came rough, lower than I meant, but I couldn't take it back. The air thickened, every sound outside the walls gone, leaving only us. She tilted her head up, her eyes meeting mine, wide, desperate, pleading for something neither of us could name. I leaned in, just enough that our lips brushed, a whisper of contact, not yet a kiss but the inevitability of one. Her fingers gripped my shirt, pulling me closer. And then, "I can't," she gasped, though she didn't move. My forehead pressed against hers, both of us breathless, suspended on the edge of a moment that could undo everything. Her forehead pressed to mine, both of us locked in the quiet storm of almost. I could feel her trembling, each breath catching like she was teetering on a ledge. Then her phone lit up again. This time, she didn't silence it fast enough. The name glowed against the screen, Lena, voicemail, 2. Her eyes darted to it, and I caught the panic before she hit it. "What is it?" I asked. She shook her head too quickly. "Nothing. She knows me too well." I didn't buy it. "She knows about me?" Her silence was answer enough. Heat rose in my chest, anger and fear mixing. "So she already suspects. She called earlier, didn't she?" Her voice dropped, softer now. "She asked if I was with you?" I blinked, stunned. "What did you say?" "That it was a stupid question." Her eyes glistened, and for the first time, I saw guilt flicker across her face like a shadow she couldn't hide. I stepped back, running a hand through my hair. The space between us grew colder instantly, but not enough to sever the pull. "You lied for me." Her lips pressed together, trembling. She turned, gripping the counter like it was the only thing holding her up. "I shouldn't have. I told myself this was just." She stopped, shaking her head. "I don't even know what I told myself." The confession sat between us, sharp and unrelenting. I wanted to grab her, to demand she stop hiding, but instead I found myself moving closer again, unable to stay away. "Say it," I whispered, standing behind her now, my hand hovering just above her arm. "Say what this is." She closed her eyes, shoulders tight. "It's dangerous." I let my fingertips graze her skin, the barest touch down her forearm. She shivered, not pulling away, not daring to look at me. "Dangerous doesn't stop you from shaking," I murmured. Her breath hitched, her hands tightening on the counter until her knuckles whitened. Then, slowly, she turned, her face inches from mine. "You don't understand," she whispered. "If anyone finds out, it's not just me they'll talk about. It's you. They'll call you reckless, pathetic. They'll say you were just chasing what you shouldn't have. Her words cut, but her eyes were pleading. Not with anger, but with fear and longing tangled so tightly together it hurt to look at her. I don't care what they say, I said, voice rough. Her hand moved before she could stop it, brushing against my chest, fingers clutching at my shirt like she needed something solid. Her body leaned closer, betraying every word of caution. For a second, I thought she'd kiss me, that the lie she told her friend had already decided everything. Instead, she whispered, almost against my mouth, "Then you've left me no choice." Her words, "Then you've left me no choice," hung between us like a strike of lightning, illuminating everything we had been trying to hide. She still had my shirt gripped in her hand, knuckles pale, her body so close I could feel the trembling in her arms. Her eyes darted over my face, as if memorizing, as if already mourning what might follow. "You don't know what you're asking," she whispered, voice thin but steady. I leaned closer, lowering mine to match. "I know exactly what I'm asking." The air thickened, pulling us in. My forehead brushed hers, a fragile contact, but it felt like falling. She shook her head weakly, though her hand only tugged me closer. "If I let this happen, I can't take it back." "Then don't take it back," I murmured. Her breath caught warm against my lips, her eyes flicking down to my mouth before forcing themselves away. Her entire body leaned toward me, yet she turned as if trying to resist gravity itself. "I told myself I was done with this," she said, her voice cracking. "Done giving pieces of myself to someone who'd just leave me emptier." I swallowed hard, pressing my palm gently to her jaw, guiding her face back toward mine. "I'm not here to take pieces. I'm here because I can't stop being pulled to you." She closed her eyes, her cheek tilting into my hand despite herself. The soft curve of her lips hovered just a breath from mine. "God help me," she whispered. And then she kissed me. Not carefully. Not like someone testing a line. It was urgent, breaking, almost desperate. Her body pressed into mine, her hands sliding up my chest, clutching, searching. I kissed her back with everything I had been holding in, every unspoken word, every stolen glance. When we broke apart, her lips lingered against mine, trembling. "We can't," she started, but the rest never came. "Then why are you still holding me?" I breathed. Her laugh was shaky, raw. She rested her forehead to mine again, as if trying to find steadiness there. "Because," she whispered, "for the first time in years, I don't feel empty." The words carved something deep in me, more binding than the kiss. I tightened my arms around her, pulling her closer, no hesitation now. Whatever came after, the whispers, the judgment, the risks, it didn't matter in this moment. We both knew the choice had been made. And there was no going back. The kiss left us both breathless. Not just from the rush of it, but from the weight of what it meant, that neither of us could pretend anymore. She pulled back first, just enough to look at me. Her lips were still trembling, her cheeks flushed in a way that betrayed how deeply she felt it too. "This is crazy," she whispered, shaking her head. "Yeah," I said, brushing a thumb over her cheek. "But it's ours." Her laugh was soft, broken, almost disbelieving. She leaned into my touch, closing her eyes for a moment like she was giving herself permission. "I spent years telling myself no one would want me like this," she said quietly. "Older. Complicated. With baggage that doesn't disappear just because I want it to." I shook my head, stepping closer so our bodies almost touched again. "You don't see yourself the way I do. When I look at you, all I see is the one person I can't stay away from." Her eyes opened, shining with something more fragile than fear, hope. She searched my face, maybe trying to see if I was just caught up in the heat of it. But I didn't look away. Slowly, she reached for my hand. Her fingers slid between mine, hesitant at first, then tightening like she was afraid I'd vanish if she didn't hold on. The warmth of her grip steadied us both. "I don't know what happens after this," she admitted. "What people will think. What I'll think of myself tomorrow morning." I squeezed her hand, pulling her gently against my chest. Then don't think about tomorrow yet. Just stay here with me. Her head rested against me, her breath warm against my shirt. For the first time all night, the tension in her body melted. She exhaled, long and shaky, and I wrapped my arms around her, anchoring her the way she'd been trying to anchor herself. We stood like that for a while, not speaking. Just breathing together, our hands still locked tight. Finally, she tilted her head back, eyes soft but steady now. You make me feel seen, she whispered. Like I don't have to pretend. I pressed a kiss to her forehead, slow and gentle. That's all I've ever wanted you to feel. Her smile then was small but real. She leaned into me again, and I knew, despite the risks, despite the doubts, that neither of us was walking away. The fear hadn't vanished. But it was quieter now, replaced by something stronger. Something we couldn't deny anymore. And as we stood there, holding on to each other in the dim kitchen light, it felt like the beginning of something neither of us had expected, but both of us needed. Speech Balloon, did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?